Implicit bias rolls on in hour one, and man, we are being fed like kings here at Mr. Lester Steakhouse down at Cypress Bayou Casino. If you want to see what this food looks like, find us on all of our socials, X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And by the way, just so you know, from here on out, we are not just a radio show or an audio podcast. We are video too on all those platforms. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. And man, we need to start solving the problems of the world. But before we do, I've got to tell you about what the crew is munching on here because this just looks too good. It is a seared duck breast, a fried oyster mushroom with a blackberry vinaigrette salad. This is course one and the type of food you can get here at Mr. Lester Steakhouse at Cypress Bayou Casino. What, Renee? I know you had the first chance to taste it. You got the first bite.
I just grabbed the plate and I was like, oh, I have to have that. That food is awesome. You know, Chef Willie just does a fantastic job.
We are going to have Chef Willie on in the next segment to tell us about this. I love what he said when he thought about taking a duck and oyster gumbo and turning it into a salad because it's a really novel idea and you get that kind of creativity here. It's fantastic. Okay, so we've got some food. It's making its way around. We're going to talk about it. But the facts are that we know what's in that salad. We know it's in that salad because the salad's right in front of us. You can see it. You can see it on camera. You hear us talk about it. You know what it tastes like because we tell you what it tastes like. And yes, you can trust us.
But we don't do it justice. You need to come and eat it.
No, you do need to come and eat it. True.
You know,
true.
Just
true.
Looking and hearing about it.
So you know what? Maybe here's a way to think about it. Maybe you need to fact check us by coming here.
Yeah, prove us wrong.
Correct. The fact checkers need to be fact checked. And I said in the opening monologue that we needed to give the debate some time to marinate. It was plainly obvious if you subscribe to our line of thinking, which is question everything, plainly obvious that questions had been distributed to potentially one candidate before the debate and not to the other. Easily observable. What was worse, and yeah, you're going to have to, you can pass that back around. I'll grab some in a minute. What was worse was that the fact checkers weren't just fact checking one person and not the other. What was worse was that when the fact checkers fact checked, they fact checked wrong. So we had a text string going. So for those who listen to the show, you know that the crew here is kind of old school OG crew. We had a text string going, and all it took on the first fact check, the very first fact check that came out, which was someone who apparently is a sorority sister of one of the candidates. By the way, conflict of interest, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I mean, are you kidding me? But a sorority sister, please don't believe me on that one, look that one up, leaned in and made the comment, by the way, there is no state in the union where there are no restraints on abortion. That was the quote from one of the, and I'm going to use this term very loosely, moderators. It really should be given a different title, like supporters, like advocate. Yeah, advocate. I think advocate's a better word. It was almost like there was an attorney there for one particular candidate arguing against another and made the comment that, yes, there are no states. In our text string, it literally took 2 seconds of a Google search to come up with what ended up being fact-checked, to their credit, by ABC, maybe a couple days, a week later, but they did it a week later, where Martha Raddatz actually came out and said there are 9 states. That article was written where ABC News, who was hosting the debate, ABC News wrote the article in July of 2024. So we are in, help me here, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. We are in freaking September.
So I'm not the only one that has to do that?
No, you're not the only one. Right. I got to, at least I can count past one hand. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I do one hand twice.
There you go. Yeah. This article was written in July by her own organization. And yet, what does she do? She fact checks one to make it look like that person is wrong, not the other. I'm curious as to what initial thoughts were, and now that we're a week and a half past that debate, where do y'all think this is starting to settle with people like us, our listeners?
Well, I mean, when they started that, when Donald Trump actually challenged that statement, he brought up the governor of Virginia.
Yes.
who was a pediatrician, and he said that he approved post-birth abortions as a governor. And then it also came out that in Minnesota, they do the same thing. Who is Kamala's running mate?
I believe it starts with a B. Yeah. Oh no, it's Walls. I'm sorry, it's not balls, it's Walls.
It rhymes. It rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes.
And what does he do? He is the governor of Minnesota?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
The whole point here that really got under my skin was, yes, you actually had the governor of Virginia on recording saying we would birth the baby and make it comfortable till we decide what to do. It was a quote of that nature. And look, the issue is in the hands of the states, which is where it should be, which is where democracy has the greatest power, because my vote in Louisiana is worth more because it's one of 4 million, as opposed to my vote nationally, where it's one of 350 million or whatever. But the point is, don't lie.
Yeah.
How hard is it not to lie? Is it that hard? Because apparently it is.
Right. Well, I mean, you state the facts to help the person that you're trying to help. I mean, they were trying to help Kamala to get over Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump came back and stated facts that they questioned him on.
He did. Caleb, you want to chime in?
It's hard for them not to lie because that's all they know. That is it. That's all they know, and it goes against their own narrative. Because if you prove one lie wrong, it unravels everything they built the foundation upon.
Yeah. Look, I love where you went here, which is, and this is where I would go with it, if you're lying about that, what else are you lying about? How about every time you open your mouth? Grant?
The biggest fallacy so far, and you have to realize these are the same people. Joe Biden is the healthiest, most energetic man in the room. This is from the same camp. It's a very easy equation. The best analogy I heard all week was the debate was a game where the refs are bought and paid for.
South Carolina fans would argue it was like playing LSU.
Right.
And what I would say is, guess what? There were bad calls both ways. That's a whole nother story. But that's the difference, is that in the debate, there weren't bad calls made both ways. The bad calls were only made in one direction.
Yeah, because the refs were bought and paid for.
Which, by the way, just so you know, Grant, I've talked to the city manager. The city manager says there are no credible reports that people are eating pets.
Yes, and where,
of course, we have a police report now that says that it was there. We have people on video being arrested for it. We have people on video saying, "Hey, they're doing this to my pets." Yeah, but there are no credible reports from the city manager. That's the other part of the game that they play, and that's the other part that gets really, really annoying. Which is, okay, so you got the city manager in your pocket. Congratulations. Just because the city manager says it, now you're trying to make it sound, it's official because the city manager said. Well, the city manager might have the IQ of a freaking carrot.
Look, there has to be an easy way to prove this because unless I have my numbers incorrect, the population of the place is 60,000 people and 20,000 immigrants have been dumped into this. This is 25%, 125% increase in your population.
Again, it's not about the immigrants. It's about the lie being told to try and prop up one side of the story as opposed to the rest of it, right?
Right.
This is the big thing that aggravated me. And I was so, I hate to say thrilled, but I was glad to be, and this is the word, I was glad to be vindicated when it came out that there is an affidavit from an ABC News employee. Believe me, please, or actually, please don't. Don't believe me. Please go look this up. There is an ABC employee who put down legally under penalty of perjury that the questions were handed over beforehand and that one campaign was given assurance that the other person would be fact-checked and that their candidate would not. This is what an ABC employee is alleging. And I'm going to say all the stuff that we're seeing in the past 5 days, P. Diddler being picked up, the additional assassination attempt, the potential third, which initially we're told it is, then we're told, no, it was a mistake. Now we're being told, no. I mean, Dan Bongino has said, my sources say it was real. So we don't know whether there was really a bomb planted. It was what was a rally in New York. I mean, you've got all this stuff going on. Was it all there to cover up just how crooked these people are?
Well, and that's where you go into, they're all crooked. And when you look at what's going on, they're trying to hide more than we can ever imagine. And the fact that Trump still went in there, knowing that this would probably be the foundation is built upon, knowing this would be the game they would play, he still did it. Because he wants to be out there, and he's like, look, I'll go toe-to-toe against a higher number. Back to Sun Tzu. You know your enemy. You know yourself. Victory is assured. Right? And that's all this is they think that we're too ignorant to look into things for ourselves.
Yeah, but you know what?
Look, what's so bad is that he walked right into it. You know why? Because he's turned nothing down to this point. He will gladly step up on stage and confront you face to face. But what he faced was such a scripted. It was almost
Grant.
like watching a play.
Grant,
Sir.
I grew up a middle-class kid.
Oh, my God.
I just want you to know that I worked at a McDonald's.
I
grew
counted
up-
a tally for that.
I grew up a
that
middle-class
stuff.
kid, right?
With two moms.
So,
It
yeah.
was
So we called her second mom.
My mom worked hard to put us through. By the way, you grew up in Canada. You grew up upper class, not middle class. Let's be honest about how you grew up, right?
Okay.
I don't care that Donald Trump grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He has never shied away from that. I don't care how you grew up. What I care about is what you do. Don't tell me what you're going to say, right? There's that old saying that we always talk about on the show, and we're going to wrap up this segment, and it goes to this. Believe none of what they say. Believe only what they do, which will show you your implicit bias. Final segment of Hour 1 right after this.